Gene Vincent, Unchained Melody. I like that, Gene.
Well, thank you very much, Jim.
You know, Over the Rainbow was another song that was very popular with the people I knew.
Yeah, well, it was more popular in England than it was in the United States, actually, for record sales. But I think I've got a copy at home. I'll try to get it over here to you.
Gene, I want to talk about a young man that you knew. He was your friend, Eddie Cochran.
Yes, Jim. He was more or less like a brother to me. We hung around together, and we went, almost every place together. And when we were in England, we traveled almost constantly together.
Was this in the early 60s, Gene?
Yes.
When did Eddie pass away?
Well, me and him were coming from Bristol, England, to London. And, well, the way it happened, I was supposed to pick up some suits, and Eddie had his girlfriend with him. And we hired a car, you see. And we thought what we thought was a taxi. But on the way back, the car skidded, and he was killed, and I was busted up. And
you were in the same car?
Yes.
I remember reading about that.
And it was a real tragedy. I was very upset about it for a long time.
Now, you were doing shows with Eddie?
Yes. Me and him were on the same show.
I'm going to be playing a couple of Eddie Cochran records. Come On, Everybody, and I Remember.
Yes.
Let's bring them back.
Right, here we go.
Eddie Cochran. Eddie Cochran. Come On, Everybody. You know, if Eddie was alive today, Gene, he would be very happy to know that his recordings are still being played.
Well, I hope wherever he's at, I hope he knows that they're being played, because he's a very fun-loving fellow. He's a very good fellow. I think if you could have met him, you'd have liked him very much.
I just saw Eddie once, and I saw him in a movie, I remember, but live it was only once, around 1958.
Was that in Los Angeles?
No, that was in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, yeah.
Now, Eddie played his own lead guitar, didn't he?
Yes, he was a fantastic lead player. Actually, he started with the lead guitar before he ever started singing. He played for, many record sessions.
Oh, he was a studio musician?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, at Capitol and with many recording studios around Hollywood here.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, like I said, he was a very fun-loving fellow. And I've never seen him mad. Never.
You know, you were telling me a story, getting back to the beginning of rock, about Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins, and it really surprised me.
Yes. Well, Carl was, they had heard about this rock and roll, you see, and Carl was on his way to do the Ed Sullivan Show, and Carl had an accident, and it hurt him quite bad. It killed his brother, I think, and hurt him. I think it broke his neck. Somehow he got out of that, and, well, they needed somebody to fill the Ed Sullivan thing, so they got Elvis Presley.
What year was that about?
It was about 1955. That was before I was going. Now, I was singing, but I wasn't popular at that time.
Yeah. Did Eddie Cochran, I know Carl Perkins still does country music. Mm-hmm. Jerry Lee Lewis came out of the roots of country. You did a little bit. You did some country, didn't you?
Definitely.
Sure.
Yes,
and I know Buddy Knox did. How about Eddie Cochran?
Eddie's always had a love for country. He always done a lot of it when me and him were just together. But as far as doing it on stage, I've never heard him do one on stage. But I'm sure that if he got the right tune, that he would have done something country.
Of course, in the late 50s, they called it rockabilly.
Yeah, rockabilly, yes. That's it.
Let's call back Eddie Cochran. This is one of my favorites, Gene. It's called, I Remember. It was from a movie called Johnny Melody. Eddie Cochran. Oh, I like that record. Eddie Cochran. I Remember. Gene Vincent, what's on the agenda for you, upcoming in the future? Anything special?
Yes, they've asked me to go back to England on tour again, which I'm not quite sure I can do as yet, because, as you know, I'm in the hospital with my leg. But I have a new record coming out soon. I don't know which label it's going to be on, but I was talking to you about it the other day.
Yeah, when I get a copy, I'll be giving it some airplay.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
And Jim, may I take this little bit of time to say it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking with you.
Well, it's great being with you, Gene, because it's like a dream in a way, because I remember seeing you, in the late 50s in St. Paul. And the memory of Gene Vincent stays in your mind, because you are, one of the leaders, one of the heavyweights of pop rock.
Well, thank you very much.
And then I pick up Billboard. Gene Vincent, Bebop-A-Lula, is selling again. Along with Bill Haley, old Chuck Berry records, Conway Twitty, and the early Elvis is coming back again.
Well, I don't know whether you heard this song out by Elvis Presley called the U.S. Mail.
Yes, I heard it.
Fabulous, and that's the pure stuff like he used to do, remember?
Gene, here's a pure one from your album cut. Catman. Catman, Gene Vincent. Gene, I have to say goodbye.
Jim, it's been my pleasure.
Continued success, on the tours and everything.
Thank
if you ever
very
see
much.
Some of the old rock artists, say hello.
I sure will.
And we're going to close with a tune called High Lily, High Low. And this was recorded where, Gene?
It was recorded in Hollywood on Challenge Records.
Mm-hmm. And it was overseas in the record shops?
Yes, it was released in France. It's not been released in the United States yet.
Oh, it hasn't?
No.
We'll give it a spin. Gene, I hope I can get overseas sometime and see you perform, and maybe even over in Minneapolis or St. Paul sometime. I might be back there.
I sure hope so,
And
Jim.
we'll keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
You're looking good. I can't believe it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Gene Vincent, High Lily, High Low.